Hey everyone, Matt here from Dr. Running, and today we're going to do a comparison review, or should I upgrade episode, of the New Balance SC Elite version 5 versus the New Balance SC Elite version 6. Now the reason I'm doing this is because version 5 was one of my favorite racing shoes last year. It wasn't the fastest thing out there, but it was weirdly stable and very comfortable. A top long run shoe last year. And version 6 is a completely different shoe. So if you liked version 5, I'm trying to update you on what's happening with version 6. Should you get version 6 or should you find version 5 on sale? And if you're interested in either one of these, which one could you consider? Because version 6 is a massive progression forward, but version 5 is also a great shoe, and it's on quite a steep discount right now. I think BJ just found, our audio engineer found a pair for like 130 bucks, 150 bucks. So some great deals here. Which one might work better for you? My job is never to sell you shoes, to help educate you on what thing might work better for you. And if you don't want to buy either one of these, doesn't matter. Hopefully you learned something. So let's start off with specs in my men's size 10. So version 5 in the weight is coming in at 7.9 ounces, or about 223 grams in my men's size 10. Version 6 is coming in much lighter at 193 grams, or about 6.8 ounces. So a massive weight drop between the two of them. Again, my men's size 10. The stack height wise is supposed to be the same, 40 millimeters in the heel, 32 in the forefoot for an 8 millimeter drop. And while version 5 feels like that, version 6 is going to depend on where you land, because the new Infineon midsole is so much softer than the Fuel Cell Piba midsole. And part of it is this version was just a little bit firmer. Some of that is how stiff the plate was, which took some time to break in. If you've worn this shoe, you know, oh, it's really stiff initially. Then it breaks in really nicely over time, but the midsole is just a little bit firmer for a super racing shoe, which is good because it made it a little bit more stable, made it feel a little more consistent over longer runs, kind of had that trainer racer vibe. Version 6 is not that. Version 6 is bouncy, responsive, the resilience is up, there's more bounce out of the midsole, and it's a lot softer, meaning more compliant. There's a lot more compression to the midsole, which if you are a heel striker means there's a lower dynamic drop in version 6. That's something I noticed immediately. It's not good or bad. Just know if you're sensitive to that and you're a heel striker, like 70 to 80% of the population, it's not a bad thing. We just talked about this in the podcast. Just know it, you're going to load different parts of your foot in the shoe, so that's going to feel a little bit lower, but that also makes it feel a little bit more aggressive. Not nearly as stiff off the forefoot, although I will say there is more noticeable toe spring because the plate kind of comes up a little bit closer and wraps up here. So it just feels like the end of your toes are just elevated just a little bit. So if you're sensitive to that, be aware. But it also makes it roll quite a bit faster than version 5, which just felt a little bit stiff and transitioned a little bit slower, which made it great for long runs. Version 6 can go a lot faster. Bouncier midsole, rolls a lot better. I have found over shorter distance intervals, it does great. Over longer distance intervals, it also goes great with that bouncier foam, but version 5 just did better over those long runs, those cruising runs. So much less versatility over in this shoe, but it could even do training. A lot of people are using this as a trainer, although I wouldn't do that. Version 6 is the racing shoe. It can handle a variety of things. I actually kind of want to race a 5K in this because it is moving that quick, and I want to see how it does if I can find the time to race 10K or 5K. The only challenge with this is that version 5 was much more stable. I mentioned this previously, that despite the narrow midfoot, there was a lot of lateral bias in the shoe, which for me works well. Not everybody's going to work well in that regard. There was also a midfoot sidewall right here, and what I finally figured out, the forefoot rocker is angled laterally, meaning if you're pivoting off the shoe and as you toe off, you're going to supinate, which is natural to a degree. You're going to go off the lateral side of the shoe, and the medial side is going to feel more stable. For someone like me that collapses at the first toe, it feels great. If that's not something you like Andrew likes to be able to pivot off the first toe, that may not be the best thing because there's just a lot more structure on that medial side. Version 6 has the same thing. It's got that lateral bias to the forefoot. It makes the medial side just feel a little more structured there, and provides some really nice guidance off the lateral side if you're trying to resupinate. Feels really great for someone like me. The only challenge is with the softer foam and narrow heel now combined, and the heel and midfoot are not nearly as stable. So David has a better video about this feeling great for longer runs. For me, I struggle with that because the heel midfoot just get too unstable. I can make it up probably 10K, maybe half marathon distance. I might pushing it a little bit. For me, this works better for 5K to 10K races, but if I was stable enough, I'd be able to handle it for longer distances. So if you need a little bit more structure in the heel and midfoot, version 5 is going to be better, although it's not the most stable shoe. It's just got that lateral bias. It seems to weirdly work. Version 6 is not going to be as good for that, although it's got a little bit more of that medial structure in the forefoot. If you're a forefoot cycler and that's something that works well for you, awesome, great. So different rides, much softer and bouncier, much more kind of not structured, but a little bit stiffer, firmer, and just feels more consistent over longer miles, if that's something you like. Finally, the uppers are totally different. Version 5, love. There's a lot more volume, a lot more width, even though it looks narrow, and there is a wide version of this. I believe there's also going to be a wide version of this one too. And I did have to snug up the laces because if you have more higher volume foot, this is one of the rare racing shoes that's going to work for you. Version 6 goes the opposite direction. It feels like a racing shoe. It has this lower volume close fit. It's not necessarily the most narrow thing in the market. It is New Balance, right? They oftentimes will fit a little bit wider, although that's not always been the case recently. What has happened though is the volume's a lot lower throughout the length of the shoe. If you have a high instep, this is going to be a little bit rough. High instep meaning kind of higher arch here, not high arch stability, but like your height is higher. It just fits really low across top of the shoe and just a little bit more, obviously more tapered in the toe box and just slightly slugged through the forefoot, which is nice because it's really nice and secure. The only thing that drives me nuts is the tongue, while wide, does fold a lot at the front side. I mentioned this in the written review, which you should check out. So just make sure you set that down. But it's very light upper. It takes a lot of weight off. For me, though, the gusseted tongue of version 5, the way this thing is structured, so comfortable. It was really, really nice. If you want a really comfortable super shoe upper, this is one of the top ones that have come out yet. We'll have to see what comes out soon. But what I didn't like in version 5 is there was a stiffer heel counter. And where version 6 really, really comes ahead in the upper is there's no heel counter back here. And this has been amazing. A lot of companies think they need the stiffest thing here. There are lots of ways to secure the heel without creating an overly stiff heel counter. The other thing I really like is there's a little tab here for the Achilles to sit around. You don't want this to be pushing into your Achilles. Tendons don't like excessive pressure. They like tensile loads. They don't like compression. That's why I don't know if you know this, that wearing compression socks is actually a risk factor for Achilles tendinopathy. And for those that have it, should be something you should be careful with just because it can be irritable in some people. So this shoe has been fantastic. I have had a little Achilles tendon irritation recently, and it actually had nothing to do with shoes. It had to do with me being stupid and doing 3 workouts in a row. I did a very hard tempo run. One day I did a super hilly kind of up-tempo run. The next day, semi-long run, then did a long run with 10 miles of up-tempo that I progressed down to my tempo pace in a row, and then it flared up, which I totally deserve because I'm overtraining and being dumb. So in the process, though, I've actually done a lot better because I'm in a plyometric phase of my progression of my rehab, and my Achilles tendon's actually doing quite well. So recovered super well from this, but not having a shoe with the heel counter has been fantastic and allowed me to get away with workouts still. So the heel is really good, a little bit more snug fit throughout this. And if you want more volume and fit, that's where version 5 is going to come in. And honestly, these are different shoes. And the SC Rebel V1, I think is a better, not a better, but is a more true upgrade from version 5. Compared to version 6, is just a totally different shoe. It's not bad. I love it. It's fast. It may not be the most stable thing in the rear foot for me, but it's faster, lighter, way more aggressive. You want a faster shoe that can handle 5K, 10K, and for those that can do longer distances and a less stable shoe, a more neutral shoe, it really moves. It's really fun, and it's now more competitive with other models on the market. Version 5 was the more comfortable shoe. It was the more like trainer racer versatility, comfortable or more stable thing, but it wasn't quite as fast over shorter distances. So completely different rides, completely different fits, different structure, stability, completely different things overall. And so if one works better for you, awesome. For me, there are different things that work better for me overall. I do have a little bias toward version 6 because I like doing shorter stuff, and I don't often use a lot of super trainers for my long runs. This was actually the first one I'd ever done that with because I didn't like doing that until this. So still a favorite, but version 6 is a favorite for a different reason, is now really competing for some of the top spots of those lighter super shoes out there. So let me know in the comments below what you think. Oh, and I almost forgot, of course, the most important thing is durability. That has been a little challenge for version 6. I have 40 miles on my pair, and this is my right shoe, but I'm starting to chew through some of that exposed outsole, and there's not a lot of great outsole rubber. Version 5 feels like the firmer shoe thus far. I'm going to get more miles in version 6 because it's working so well for me, but this shoe has 120 miles. This is my left shoe. It's doing extremely well. On my left shoe, on my version 6, I'm starting to chew through that outsole. So outsole durability may not be as good. Softer midsole, time's going to have to tell, and I will update you on this. Time's going to have to tell about how the midsole holds up, because oftentimes softer midsoles don't always hold up as well as somewhat firmer ones. So initial feel, a little more durable, a little less durable, which is kind of hard because this is $275 and you can get this for like $150. But if you want that really fast ride, maybe worth it to you. But anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. I really want to know what you all are thinking. I know this shoe has been out on plenty of reviews, including David has a SC Rebel versus this shoe review that is awesome that you should check out. We've done 100 miles reviews on the SC Elite 5. I want to know what you all are thinking. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Because honestly, I disagree, and having different experiences with some of the other reviewers who feel like the SC Elite version 6 is kind of best for longer distances, and I'm feeling it better for shorter. Everybody has a slightly different experience. My job is to explain some of the biomechanical and some of the pathological things that may contribute to stuff to help you figure out what's going to work best for you. So let us know what's working best for you, what you think of each one of these, and if this is helpful, because at the end of the day, really, I'm not trying to sell you stuff. I'm really trying to help you figure out what's best for you, because I'm also trying to figure out the same thing.